Good evening. I would like to call the November 18, 2025 City Council meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. The public is encouraged to join the meeting online or by phone at the numbers printed on the agenda, which can be found on the city's website at www.diamondbarca.gov or in person, Main Auditorium, South Coast Air Quality Management District. We have also allowed public comments to be submitted in advance to the city clerk. If any were received, they will be noted for the record when we get to the public comment period. This meeting is being recorded, and by participating, you are giving your permission to be televised. This meeting will be rebroadcast every Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. and alternate Tuesday at 8 p.m. and archive for viewing on the city's website at www.diamondbarca.gov. Now we're going to proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance, invocation, and roll call. Now please stand for the Pledge of the Allegiance led by Council Member Stan Liu, and then please remain standing for the invocation by Pastor Stephen Yap, Gateway Friends Church.
Thank you, Mayor. Everyone, please rise. Rise. Right hand over heart and place the flag. Ready, begin. One nation, under God, liberty and justice for all.
Once again to serve the city in this manner. Let us pray. Father God, we give thanks. Thank you for the great city of Diamond Bar, which has been a place of good reputation for many people and for many years. Thank you for all the people that live here, for all the people that raise their families here, send their children to schools here, for all the businesses and for all the people that have sought out work in this city. We ask and pray for your continued hand of blessing over Diamond Bar and all the people within it. As we begin this season of rain, we pray for adequate rain to prevent the drought, but also that the infrastructure and drainage will operate as needed. Be with the leaders and workers as they make decisions to keep things safe and working well during these rains. We pray for the leaders, the mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, the councilors, staff, and all the people that work for this city. Give them everything they need to do their work. And may working for this city be a blessing to them and their families. We also pray, Lord, for tonight's meeting. We pray that you grant wisdom and discernment to the council for every decision that has to be made tonight. To those presenting or bringing up issues, we pray that they will be able to communicate what's on their heart clearly so that the council will have all the information they need to make their decisions if one is called for. We pray for the agenda, that it will proceed smoothly and they will accomplish everything the council set out to do tonight. In closing, we pray for your hand of blessing and protection that over this great city of Diamond Bar. May this community continue to prosper and be safe and be strong for many years to come. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Thank
you, Pastor. Thank you, Pastor. Please be seated.
They're here. What are you doing?
I just turned it off. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Chow?
Here.
Councilmember Liu?
Here.
Councilmember Lowe?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Tai?
Here.
Mayor Tang?
Here. Next is approval of agenda. City Manager Fox, are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda.
The agenda is hereby approved. Next session is a special presentation, certificates, proclamation, and we have none tonight. And next session is city manager's reports and recommendation. City manager,
There are no additional reports this evening.
thank you. Next session is public comments. Public comments is the time reserved on each regular meeting agenda to provide an opportunity for members of the public to directly address the council on consent calendar items or other matters of interest not on the agenda that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. Although the city council values your comments, pursuant to the Brown Act, members of the city council or staff may briefly respond to public comments if necessary, but no extended discussion and no action on such matters may take place. There's a 5 minutes maximum time limit when addressing the city council. At this time, I will call up speakers who have submitted a speaker card first. Then City Clerk Santana will ask for those callers joining the teleconference who may wish to speak under public comments. And I have received a speaker card from Cynthia Yu.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, city staff, and members of the audience. My name is Cynthia Yu from Diamond Bar Library. Come and get crafty with us this Thursday, November 20th at 1 p.m. Whether you crochet, knit, or otherwise work with fiber, bring your current project and work with other fiber artists. You'll find inspiration, good company, and maybe make a dent in that pile of work in progress projects. You'll also learn about library resources that can help you discover and pursue your hobbies. The sky is falling again. Join us for an interactive puppy show, The Dinosaur Who Cried Asteroid, where Rory the dinosaur races to save his friends from the mysterious object falling out of the sky. Rory needs all the children's help to convince his friends he's telling the truth and protect them from the danger heading their way. This program will take place on Saturday, November 22nd at 2 p.m. and is generally sponsored by Diamond Bar Friends of the Library. Join us for a special celebration of K-pop music and dance on Tuesday, November 25th at 2 p.m. We'll craft our own microphones, draw secret patterns on our favorite demon hunting characters, and compete in a freeze dance challenge. All LA County Library locations will be closed for Thanksgiving on Thursday, November 27th and Friday, November 28th. Our digital library is always open. Please visit our website, lacountylibrary.org, to get ebooks, audiobooks, music, movies, and more. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker card comes from three-person Sonia Reed, Teresa Lee, and Felix Tan.
We have something for the projector. Is it okay?
Okay, you gotta hold it. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, members of the City Council and city staff. My name is Sonia Reed. I'm the chair of a program called Making Spirits Bright, supporting low-ranking military families at a Southern California military bases. And now I would like to turn it over to Teresa Lee.
Thank you. My name is Teresa Lee. I'm a committee member with the Making Spirit Bright. It's actually December 7th. We'll be having a toy drive, which means that we are going to be collecting toys, and the toys, once we accumulate it, we'll combine everything together, and we'll have a turnover party at the Diamond Bar Holiday Inn on December 7th from 2 to 4. And therefore, we would love to have the council members. And of course, we know that it's time that the city will having the musical chair where the mayor pro tem will be changed at that time. So we gladly would love to see the new mayor and also the mayor pro tem along with all the council members to come and join us and participate and see the toys that that we have accumulated. So anyways, I have we and this particular toys will be going to Fort Irwin. It's an Army base that's tucked away around Barstow area. When you drive up to the Las Vegas, it's just right around the corner. There's an exit to that. But anyways, we are hoping that we have the opportunity to invite all the council members. And this is a community event that we would love to have the community involvement and bring a toy, hopefully.
That's it.
That's it?
Pretty much.
Okay. Thank you, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. But next, there's a speaker card from Sonia Reed. Ms. Sonia Reed, do you want to speak again?
No, thank you. It's the same thing. We're
Same
going to
thing?
be leaving flyers at the back table for anyone to please help yourself, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker card come from Cynthia Robin.
Good evening, Mayor Tang, Honorable Council. Thank you for hearing my words tonight. I'd like to talk about defensible space in Zone 0 and how it affects cities and the state of California. I'm an ecologist and a native plant expert, and I've done many gardens, and so over the years, we have been tracking fire-resilient landscaping for at least 8 years now. The Zone 0 program subtly came online last March because it was rushed through by an executive order, as you may know. My team and I wound up going to the Board of Forestry meetings in March, and we've gone to every one and been tracking the situation since then, and this is what greatly concerns us. AB 3074, which was the original bill that was passed, required by law that the authorities formally educate the local governments about what Zone 0 is and all of that. So I don't really know if this city council ever did get, legitimate training on what it is. Well, we did in the meetings, and what my team and I discovered was what appeared to be an unfair process. And here's why. We had the top scientists from UCLA Institute of the Environment give testimony about the real science. And then we had the insurance company's quasi-science, I guess, their methodologies start debating back and forth what was right. But the takeaway here that we see now is it's been pretty clear that somehow the insurance company has dominated the process and is basically making the rules. How it affects our community is very concerning to me because we've investigated the science about Zone 0. It claims to be safe. It is not safe. It actually adds very concerning fire risk potential that can be measurable by science. Dr. Longcore at UCLA and Dr. Escobedo's report, which is double peer-reviewed, we have evidence that the moisture from healthy vegetation actually creates protective buffers against our houses. And it's a common fact that we know in the fire business that the reason we have urban conflagrations, they're spread from building to building and the distance between the buildings, not the plants. So we're very concerned that the Zone 0 program is promoting this other ideology. The other thing is, to be clear, the insurance company will not grant discounts if there is compliance with Zone 0. We know that to be true. We have examples of that already happening in other cities. The other thing is, it kind of opens, well, not kind of, it opens the door to the insurance company to raise rates, to deny claims, and cancel policies without any recourse. And that is concerning. You guys have, I believe, in your possession an article that a colleague of mine wrote, and we continue to study this matter, and this is what we know now. There's also a New York Times article that just came out last week called California, How the Insurance Industry is Writing the California Wildfire Rules. So that's good to look up and learn from that. I'm very concerned that this city might be thinking that this product, this Zone Zero Defensible Space program is safe. It's not. It flies in the face of all the existing reliable science that we have, and it is an industrial program that's using experimental exercises and presentations to convince the public that this is a good way to go. And they, for a few years now, they have been doing special events, feel-good special events that are promoting this idea, and that gravely concerns me because we have a rising marketplace of products that are being promoted as helping fire safety. And my watchdog team and I, we curate this information to see if it's really true or false. So we're here to just alert the public to learn more and find out why we didn't get any formal training. If we didn't, how can we do that? Because that's very important. And I'm looking forward to our city council to take those steps to protect our community in authentic ways. Thank you very much for hearing my words tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you. That's all the speaker card I have in front of me. And City Clerk Santana, is there any speaker on the line or on the
Yes.
teleconference line want to speak to the council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, there were no more emails submitted for this public comment portion of the meeting. There is a speaker on the line, and if you'd like to give a public comment, please click on the raised hand icon in your GoToWebinar program now. No hands raised, Mayor.
At this time, is there any other people in the audience who want to speak to the city council? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comments session. Next is a schedule of future events and the consent calendar. City Manager Fox, can you please announce the schedule of the upcoming events and then proceed with the consent calendar?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The Planning Commission will be meeting on Tuesday, November 25th, starting at 6:30 p.m. in the Windmill Community Room at City Hall. The Parks and Recreation Commission, scheduled for Thursday, November 27th, has been canceled, and city offices will be closed on Thursday, November 27th, and Friday, November 28th, in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. Our next City Council meeting will be on Tuesday, December 2nd, starting at 6:30 p.m. here in the AQMD auditorium. On the consent calendar this evening, you have approval of the November 4th regular meeting minutes, approval of the check register dated October 29th through November 11th, approval of the treasurer's statement for October, adoption of a proclamation declaring November 29th as Small Business Saturday, and approval of an appropriation for the purchase and installation of a dedicated air conditioning unit for the City Hall broadcast room. That concludes the consent calendar for this evening.
Thank you for the report. Would anyone like to put any items for discussion?
No, I'll move for approval of the consent calendar.
Second?
So we have a motion and we have a second. City Clerk Santana, please call for the vote.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Chow?
Yes.
Councilmember Liu?
Yes.
Councilmember Lowe?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tai?
Yes.
Mayor Tang?
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes. Next is the public hearing. Item 7.1. City Manager Fox, please provide the report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Our building official, Raymond Tao, will be making the staff presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. On November 5th, we had our first reading of the 2025 Building Code amendments. We are here tonight to hear the second reading and have a public hearing for those, for the Building Code amendments. This is a triennial adoption of the building codes. Locally, we're required to adopt building codes every 3 years from the state and introduce our local amendments What we're doing is we're maintaining all of our prior amendments from prior years from the 2022 building code. There are no substantive changes. The Building Standards Commission did create a new code, which is called the Wildland Urban Interface Code, which is basically a consolidation of prior amendments to the code. They're all just basically taking what was already there and putting into one code. And then also the state created an Assembly Bill 306, which disallowed any changes to the residential codes locally in any city. So that's also a limitation that we have on this. So with that, the recommendation is to open the public hearing for receiving public testimony, close the public hearing, approve second reading by title only, waive full reading, and adopt the ordinance 03-2025, and I'll read the ordinance. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Diamond Bar amending Title 15 of the Diamond Bar City Code and adopting by reference the 2025 California Building Code, Volumes 1 and 2, including Chapter 1, Division 2, and Appendices I and J thereto, the 2025 Mechanical Code, and the appendices thereto, the 2025 California Plumbing Code, and the appendices thereto, the 2025 California Electrical Code, and appendices thereto, the 2025 California Residential Code, including appendices H, J, K, and O thereto, the 2025 California Green Building Code without appendices thereto, and the 2025 California Wildland Urban Interface Code without appendices, together with the certain amendments, additions, deletions, and exceptions. This concludes my presentations, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Now I'm going to open up public comments on this item. Are there any public comments? I have the public comments come from Cynthia Robin.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, I'm very concerned about the update to our building codes for the first time. I don't know how it can be said there are no significant changes. The Wildland Urban Interface Code, the WUI code, is new and is now in our codes, and it has Zone 0 and Defensible Space Program throughout. So basically, if we approve these codes, we approve that, okay? Los Angeles City Council rejected Zone 0. They took that advice from their safety commission, their fire safety commission, by the way. You can look at the documents, you can talk to the city council members like I have. They have a 13-page report as to why they made that decision. I think that's saying a lot because the city of Los Angeles is a big deal to Sacramento. And so what we have here in the WUI codes, I'll try to make it brief to you. We are doing an incredible thing. We are saying, because we do home hardening, which is actually a helpful thing if we're cautious, that we can go ahead and continue putting density in high fire risk areas. And we'll be safe. It's, you know, it's pushing a narrative, it's selling a product. If we just do all these things to our buildings, we're going to be safe. And that is not true. That's a dangerous misunderstanding. It's like saying, we're going to go ahead and build in floodplains or earthquake fault lines or hurricane alleys. Think about that. And so what frightens me is we have a false sense of security that's based on something that's totally not scientific. And there is going to be another disaster, and there will be deaths and loss by deliberately building in high fire danger areas. Now, there's a lot of money to be made in development, I get that, but we're talking about real safety issues. And if you want to know more about it, I work with a team where we study this. We would be happy to give you a presentation, or you can talk to the Los Angeles City Council or their safety team that have already analyzed this, okay? This shakes me to my core. I'm literally shaking here because I have a fire risk property. And for 38 years, my husband and I have guarded that property very judiciously because we understand the fire risk very intimately. That's why 10 years ago, I transferred my landscaping, my dangerous landscaping, and learned how to transfer it and make it into a native landscape. So there's no way I'm going to change that now and cut it all down and actually invite fire risk. And let me give you another example. We have scientific evidence that shows that the Joshua Tree fires, where there's nothing but gravel and cactus, made the houses explode because of radiant heat. So there is a fire science portion of all of this that's not being considered. And therefore, I would appeal to this council to use your prosecutorial discretion to say, hold it. We don't want to agree to this until we find out more so we can really be safe. This is not business as usual. There's something very, very risky here. And to think that the Zone Zero Defensible Space program is going to tell people like me who know how the science works and have done all the right measures. By the way, my fire chief loves my yard. He knows what I've been doing all these years. Okay, he knows we'll be safer because of the measures I've taken, and I teach others. And now we have an industrialized, institutionalized program that is aiming to, well, has actually captured our regulatory process in this state, pushing these ideas that are very, very dangerous. I'm very serious about this. So I hope the City Council will use their power. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, we can devise a better alternative to make our community safe. I want to be a part of that, and I'm dead serious about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there other people in the audience want to speak? Is any one online or sending an email regarding this item?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we did receive 2 emails from Smitha C. and Cynthia Robin Smith, and those emails were printed and provided for the council members at the dais and at the entrance of the council meeting auditorium tonight. And we do have some callers on the line. If anyone would like to comment on item 7.1, please click on the raised hand icon in your GoToWebinar program now. And there are no hands raised, Mayor.
Thank you. So any other people in the audience want to speak to the council? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comments period, and I'm going to ask for the City Council for comments and discussion. I'm going to start with Council Member Andrew Chow.
Thank you, Mayor. And just to clarify, if I can ask staff to clarify, if we adopt this, are we indeed recognizing or accepting the Zone Zero regulation? Because as far as I know, that hasn't been finalized.
We are basically adopting the map. The Zone Zero is still under consideration as far as how they're going to approach it through the fire department, through the fire marshal's office. They are investigating how to approach this because they do know that it's a challenging item to handle. So it is under advisement.
Yeah, if I can further explain, the adoption of these codes, we're only adopting what the state has already adopted and what will become effective per state law January 1st. And we're just incorporating into our local code so that our building official can enforce them locally. And so the comment that we're not making any substantive changes pertains to the local amendments. So we're not adopting any local amendments or exceptions. We're simply adopting what has been on the books and what the state has updated between the 2022 and 2025 California building codes. So we're not making any changes to what the state has already imposed upon us and the different buildings within our jurisdiction.
Thank you. Councilmember Chow, do you have any? Next is Councilmember Stan Lu.
Thank you, Mayor. City Attorney, you mentioned these are the codes that are being adopted and imposed by the state. Once they're adopted and imposed by the state, we need to be in a position that we also adopt them. The only thing that we can do maybe make it a little more stringent, but may not be any looser, right?
Yeah, the Health and Safety Code provides that we can adopt local amendments to make it more stringent or very specific to our geographic, topographic condition in our jurisdiction. Because the state has adopted these codes to apply equally across all of the occupancies and buildings in the state, they do recognize that different parts of the state have different topography, different climates, that certain standards will not work the same in every single area in the state, and that's where we have jurisdiction to make more stringent standards to address our local topography, climate, and conditions that differ from other parts of the state. But we are not allowed to otherwise change the state standards because the state wants these standards to apply equally across all of the buildings constructed within the state of California.
Thank you for clarifying that. That's all my questions, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Liu. Next is Councilmember Ruslo.
Thank you, Mayor. My question is regarding, we had a presentation maybe last month or the month before about maps with the fire zone. Is that part of this code that we're doing? And then my second question, has that been adopted by the state, and is the maps being adopted per this particular code amendment?
Yeah, so the maps were adopted by the state, and again, with those we had no say. They were adopted and promulgated by the state. They're already effective, and what the only change in this code is that they were moved from the fire code, I think. Was it the fire code or the housing residential codes, and put into the urban wildlife code? So that does not change with this adoption.
And did I hear that there is a, is it AB 3074 that says local cannot change whatever's the state? Can you explain how that works?
Yes, and so the state says, the Health and Safety Code does allow, as I indicated earlier, for local amendments applicable to our jurisdiction, but this law provides that we cannot exercise that authority for occupancies pertaining to residential. So the state's regulations apply, but we cannot adopt local amendments if they would apply to residential occupancies. And so, for this particular code cycle, we're not allowed to adopt local amendments pertaining to residential. Correct, new amendments. Yeah, we can continue the past local amendments that we've had, but we cannot adopt new ones. In other words, we cannot make it more stringent and require hardening and other, new local amendments pertaining that would apply to residential buildings.
That's effective January 1 or immediately upon adoption?
That's effective now.
Oh, now?
Yeah.
Urgency legislation.
Yeah.
And it cannot be, okay, well, that answers that. Okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Anytime Sacramento's involved, it gets murky. So if I understood what the speaker was talking about, again, remind me, I might be thinking about another event, but I think we went through this when we were talking about Zone 0, and we said, no, we don't agree with that, and no, we have to do it because Sacramento said we have to do it, and we said, no, we're not going to do it. And we came back at the next meeting and we decided we have to do it. But how is it possible then that Los Angeles City Council can say we're not going to do
it? I don't know, and I'm not following the city of Los Angeles and what they do. I do know that in most jurisdictions that have to deal with this issue, the fire department, and my understanding was that the fire marshal and different fire agencies were instrumental in the state adopting these types of regulations. So, so I really don't know the science behind it, but I do know that most fire chiefs were in support of it. And so they did have public hearings in Sacramento pertaining to those issues. And I think that, these comments should actually be made at that level. At this point, we really don't have much options.
Right, we don't have many options because what they say is it's okay if you do this, but now we have a new law where you can't do this.
Yeah, correct. I mean,
There
yeah,
you go.
it's one of those things where Sacramento is dictating to local jurisdictions. It's difficult to attend those hearings in Sacramento, and so you will have, the public come here because we're a lot closer to your residents than our representatives up in Sacramento.
You're still my favorite lawyer. Thank you.
Thank you. So according to the report, adopting this is just adopting a new high hazardous map. It's nothing to do with the future zone 0 because that's not set yet.
So the map is already applicable. It's already adopted.
It's already.
Yes. What we're doing here is we're taking the state codes and putting a local code number. And I think we have a prosecutor that understands when city attorneys go to court to enforce the local laws, if we say we're here to enforce the health and safety code section X, the judge is going to say, well, you're not a district attorney, you're an attorney general. What jurisdiction do you have to enforce these state laws? Because state laws are enforced by the attorney general and also district attorneys, again, through the attorney general. City attorneys don't have authority to enforce state law. Our authority is to enforce local law, which is why the Health and Safety Code then requires us to adopt these codes locally because they don't want DAs or AGs to enforce them. They want city attorneys to enforce it through our building officials and our staff. And that's really the main reason why they're requiring us to adopt them locally. We issued notices of violations for building violations, and if the property owners do not comply, then our city prosecutor will then bring criminal action as misdemeanors for failure to comply with the municipal code. And by having these California codes adopted locally, our city prosecutor, my office, whoever's prosecuting locally, can cite to the municipal code as a violation of the municipal code, and then it's understood that it's a local enforcement, not DA or Attorney General.
So again, for adopting this new wildland urban changes into our code, again, only we're adopting that map. Any zone, my question is, anything in this regulation has talk about anything like those defensible space or zone 0 in the codes, in this code?
So the answer is that the maps were already adopted by state law and also in our local code. And they do address different zones for defensible space, depending on which area you are located, whether you are a high severity fire zone or lower or medium, and then different standards apply depending on where in the map your property is. And our building official, when there is new construction, will apply the map to the regulations, and the regulations already dictate the type of the roof material, the type of siding. That is already incorporated into the codes and has been for a few years now. It's really not new. The only new part with the new maps and the new updated codes that the state has adopted only pertain to this Zone 0. And as you heard from our fire chief, when we were discussing it, when it first came to the council, those have not been fully vetted or applicable yet. So they're not being enforced at this time.
Well, so the Zone 0 will be in this code, but there's no good definition, no set rule of that Zone 0. I remember that the last time when we were talking about that, it's difficult to enforce that code, right?
Yeah.
I heard that because I remember I asked a question that what if that within the Zone 0 there's like a protected tree? What happened? I think the answer I got is if it's kept well, it can be kept there. It doesn't need to be removed. That's quite different from my understanding of the Zone 0, because I thought Zone 0, everything, every vegetation, every plant need to be removed in that Zone 0. But I think last time, I think it was a fire, it's Chief Gamble that gave me the answer.
Yes.
So I heard a different interpretation of this Zone 0. So Zone 0 still is very questionable. And we are going to adopt a very questionable Zone 0. Even our fire chief is not so sure what to do, what to answer my question.
Yeah.
You know? So we're going to adopt that into our code. Won't that cause any more problem?
Again, it's already in our codes, it's already in the state law. Yeah, so you're not creating any more issues than what the state has already created, unfortunately.
Then why do we need to adopt it again if it's in the city code?
Because we are updating it to the 2025 edition of the California codes, which are applicable, and it's necessary, again, for enforcement purposes at the local level. It's necessary. If we don't do it, it will create confusion. It will be difficult for our prosecutor.
So I do remember that we have discussed about the enforcement. That will be a problem of enforcement too, right? Because people will probably don't know how to enforce it. And also that another question is that do we have estimated if we want to enforce it, how many trees currently will be removed from the people, from the houses that in the high hazard area? How many trees? Do we have any estimate? How much does it cost for the homeowners? Do we know that?
I think we're going to have to wait for the state to do the final, regulations on it. And I don't know whether LA is simply saying we're commenting that we don't like what you're doing, and but ultimately, I think if the state does adopt them, I'm not sure that LA is going to be unable. I mean, I don't think that LA is going to be allowed to not enforce. Maybe they use their prosecutorial discretion not to do so, but I am not sure how much liability they actually would be agreeing to accept for doing that.
Can you explain what is a prosecutory discretion? Because I heard that terminology twice today. What is that?
Well, the easiest way for me to explain it is that prosecutors have to be allowed to determine whether there's sufficient evidence to prosecute a particular case or not. And it comes from the separation of powers. So you have the legislature adopting regulations, and then you have administratively prosecutors enforcing them. If the legislature dictates how the prosecutor will enforce the rules, then the separation of powers is violated, and then you can have prosecution that is not based on the law, but is based on other factors that may not be constitutional. So that's where the doctrine comes from. It's from that separation of powers, because you can have legislatures that favor one group over another and decide we're gonna prosecute one group or one type of crime, but we're not going to prosecute others. And then you have the unequal application of the law, which the Constitution, both federal and state, do not allow.
And would you advise us to exercise our prosecutory discretion in our
The
city?
city council does not have that discretion. That belongs to the prosecutor. City council has all discretion to adopt laws and to terminate laws, to change the laws. But as to enforcement, prosecutor has to exercise their own discretion whether a particular person or business or individual violated the law or not.
So our city code enforcer is prosecutor, right?
Correct.
But, we can give them direction? No, we cannot give them direction?
You can change the law. If you want the law to change, yes, you can do that, but you cannot dictate how a prosecutor does their job.
Mayor, if I can ask some clarification
Go
questions.
ahead.
So just want to make sure, thank you, City Attorney. So currently, our code is basically 2022 codes currently.
Yes.
And every 3 years, we're required to adopt a new set of codes, and this one happens to be 2025. And I do see that there's a few of them, 2025 California Mechanical Code, 2025 California Plumbing Code. Are we allowed to piecemeal and adopt one, not the other? I'm under assumption that we'll have to adopt all of them because these are 2025.
Yeah, all of these codes are mandatory.
Right, so if we don't adopt, then we're out of compliance. And I understand the confusion around Zone 0 enforcement, but I think that's a separate matter, and we still have to adopt the code. But from an enforcement standpoint, I think a lot of details still being worked out, and when that comes, we will then revisit how we want to enforce. But the codes are already adopted by the state. I don't know if we have a lot of options here. Mayor, are you suggesting we don't adopt this code and be out of compliance with state law?
What is the consequence if we don't adopt these particular items? If we're not compliant with the state?
We can be subject to liability, not directly from the state, but from any damage or injury that may occur by failure to adopt a mandatory duty.
Mayor, if I may, my suggestion is that I absolutely agree with Councilmember Chow's point, is that we're adopting these codes. We don't want to be in compliance. And I also agree that the Zone 0 has caused us, we have a lot of disagreement with that. I think that's quite evident in the discussion we had previously when it first became city council, when we first came to city council. So in as much as the Code 0 regulations, so to speak, are still yet to being developed, let's pull that, let's make, if we all agree, direct our staff to write a letter to the legislators who are working on this to register our dissent onto the law, as well as our complaints and all of the discussions that we've talked about before, and handle that separately, apart from this discussion of these codes at this point.
Thank you. Any other comments? You have comments?
I like to ask for a clarification that you mentioned earlier, that there's two different jurisdictions. There's a state and there's a city. If we don't adapt these, we can't enforce the codes, right? Is that what it meant? Because we haven't adopted as a city code.
So technically, the building official will still have to approve or disapprove construction that complies or doesn't comply with the California building codes. But if someone decides to violate the permit and build not according to permit, then it would be very difficult at that point to enforce it. We would have to ask the DA to enforce it on our behalf, and again, they don't like to enforce something that should be enforced at the local level. You know,
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. And the other one that the Councilmember Lowe mentioned is that we can adopt this on title, but we can also express our
Disagreement?
with Zone Zero, with that?
yes.
Yeah?
So, please explain again. Sorry.
So these codes, from what my understanding is, these are city codes. They already adopted as state codes, which already have have a super. What's the word? We need to. If we don't adopt it, then we can't really enforce it on the city level. Then outside of that, we can adopt this and then also write a letter to express our opinion on opposition, perhaps on Zone Zero. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for your suggestion.
That's the Councilmember Lowe's suggestion.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
Okay, so, Mr. Sandoval, nothing happens. We decide that we're not going to take A, B, or C and approve. Do I understand that come January 1st, 2026, all of this is moot? Because we didn't take any action to make these the ordinances for the city going forward? Is that accurate?
Well, the health and safety code still requires us to adopt them locally.
No, but
And-
the
and-
whole, so let me go back to
The-
building
the-
code, mechanical code, plumbing code, electrical,
Yes.
residential, green building, et cetera. That, all of a sudden, we decided we're going to take the high road and we're not going to do this. We'll figure it out later. Come 2026, this isn't useful.
No, they still apply in the state of California.
No, I get that. We're talking about the city of Diamond Bar.
They would apply in the
Whether or
city of
not
Diamond
we,
Bar as well. Yes,
whether or not we,
correct.
I have no idea why we're having this discussion. So we have to.
Again, they apply in Diamond Bar for all construction because the state has made it so. But the state has also required us to adopt them locally
Got
for
it.
enforcement purposes.
And if tonight, November 18th, we don't do that, it doesn't go away. What I'm concerned about is that
It
we're going to put
doesn't go
ourselves in a
away.
position that, as you said, we're not going to be able to enforce something, and we're going to look for the district attorney, and he's pretty busy. So I think this is nonsense, really. I promised my wife it wouldn't be a long meeting, but it's been a long meeting. What we should do, I think we're all in agreement, is we should approve it. And if we don't like it, let's get on the phone and let's paper them and say, we don't know how you came up with this, but we don't think it's a good idea. And we got a lot of fire chiefs that they don't agree with you either, but they're trying to play nice. So that's where I'm at with it.
If I can add, just so happens our Assembly member Lisa Caron is chair of the Insurance Commission at the State Assembly, so she'll be the right person to bring this up to.
Okay, so no more comments from the council. Is any other people want to make any statement or want to speak to the council at this time? Any other people, any people on the phone, on the line?
Yes, the public hearing has been closed.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
public hearing closed. Okay, then I'm going to close the council's discussion. So would someone like to make a motion?
I'll motion.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and we have second. City Clerk Santana, please call for the vote.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Chow?
Yes.
Councilmember Liu?
Yes.
Councilmember Lowe?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tai?
Yes.
Mayor Tang?
I will say no because of the last item, just to make a statement.
Well, now, Mayor, there was some discussion regarding the suggestion to make our position known to our legislators. How do we work that?
I think that there is consensus from the council for us to do that. So I already took it as we are going to, from the staff level, we are going to do that, yes.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to move to the next item, number 8, council consideration. City Manager Fox, please provide the report.
Mayor and council, our Community Development Director, Greg Gubman, will make the staff presentation.
Thank you and good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight's item is a discussion-only request for council direction on whether staff should begin evaluating potential amendments to portions of the development code. This stems from interest expressed at the November 4th meeting in looking at several areas where the City Council may want additional policy review. The staff report in the packet outlines 4 broad topic areas that could be examined if the council wishes to proceed. And those are live entertainment regulations, parking requirements, sign standards, and broadly the entitlement procedures within the city. At this stage, we are not proposing specific changes nor implying that the current regulations are inadequate. The purpose of tonight's discussion is simply to determine whether the council would like staff to study any of these areas further and develop scopes of work, which could include consultant support for more technical topics like parking or signage. Should the council choose to move forward, staff would return with a structured process, likely involving the Economic Development Committee and study sessions with the Planning Commission to help define priorities before any formal ordinance amendments are drafted. Staff is available to answer any questions and to implement whatever level of review the council directs. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for the report. First, are there any public comments on this item?
Mayor, we did receive 2 emails from Megan Lee and Alicia Yu. And at this time, if any member of the public joining the teleconference would like to comment on item 8.1, please click on the raised hand icon in your GoToWebinar program. And there are no hands raised, Mayor.
So the public comment is closed. And are there any council members or discussion? I'm going to start with Council Member Andrew Chow first.
I'll go later.
You'll go
I want to hear what you guys have to say first. Thanks.
What about Council Member Ruth Lowe?
Sure, I'll go. I always think it's a good policy to look at something if it's, has been around for a long time for no other reason except as if even to update it because things change and, our community changes, life changes, and we have lots of new things. So I am definitely in support of looking at these ordinances and seeing if they need to be updated. I think the answer is going to be yes. My concern is with regard to the subjects that require consultant support. And as we all are aware, we are embarking on lots of projects, and we're looking at a fiscal uncertainty. So I am mindful that we don't want to be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to update a code just for the sake of updating it because it needs to be updated. I like the idea that the live entertainment staff has generally says that they can do that without going to consultant support, and I think that that is really worthwhile looking at, considering how, again, life has changed. I think that it's time to update that and really to open it up. My only comment with regard to live entertainment is that it's with an eye toward economic development. While I think that live entertainment would be impactful to economic development, I would just caution that it is a quality of life issue as well, and that quality of life issues be factored into any updates in this regard. So that's my comment.
Thank you. Member Liu?
Thank you, Mayor. And I'm in general very much with support of looking at our codes again. We haven't looked at it in a long time, and the economy and the world has changed. Our Diamond Bar has changed in that sense as well. And I'm all for looking at the codes that can better support and help us develop who we are today and who we want to be in tomorrow. And the three things I wanted to would be in support of, it's modernizing our development that can help support our business community. But at the same time, as Councilmember Lowe mentioned, that we want to balance that economic growth with our quality of life as well. And looking at some of the codes, I would imagine some of the codes was created to create that balance. And however, perhaps our city has changed, and maybe the need or the preferences has changed throughout the years. And as with business and entrepreneurship, and having something that we can improve the efficiency and the transparency of entitlements and be able to get permits, that is always a good thing for business owners, and going in knowing what they're expecting, the whole process. That would be good. And I also echo Councilmember Lowe's. I'm not sure about if we should spend more money, any money on consultants. Perhaps looking at the codes that we can look at now in the phase that without having to spend additional money just to consult, and someone would tell us, hey, this is what we need, or this might be a good idea, or this might be a bad idea. One of the things that we may be able to look at is perhaps is the live music. Perhaps that we can create a balance in the phase that is not all or nothing. We can look at the different phase or different hours, or even the decibels, that we can support the maybe what we call the mailer or of live entertainment that can support that our community is looking for, but also that is to not be invasive on our quality of life. So I am a support of looking into this without spending more money on consultants. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Tai?
Okay. I actually have a lot to add. That's why I want to go last, but
I changed my mind.
but I'll start. So just so we're on the same page, kind of frame the conversation. So this came up because we were concerned about businesses not feeling welcome, or they're not able to offer kind of higher end, more profit margin type of offering to attract the type of business that we want, and also bring more entertainment options back to Diamond Bar. So I actually went back and watched the meeting from 2017 when this ordinance was passed, when the urgency ordinance was passed. And Greg, you look a lot younger back then. I think it was 2017? 2010, I'm sorry. And at the time, former Mayor Herrera was the mayor, and Lin-Ling Cheng, the late Jack Tanaka, and late Ron Everett were on the council. And the deliberation went like this. And I think one of the comments that Lin-Ling Cheng made was that she felt like we were taking a sledgehammer to a problem that could have been solved by a fly swatter. Okay, so this whole thing came about, and I talked to a few people. Apparently, Scribble Club was an issue for us, and some of you were around back then. Yeah? Back in the 20s?
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. No, so apparently the issue was not so much that we don't want entertainment options, but it was the problem that was caused by these type of venues. So as such, the council at the time passed an urgency ordinance basically to address the consequences of those services. And many things that they talked about, I feel it's a little draconian now looking back, and we've been hearing this from our residents that they don't want to always have to drive to Chino Hills or Brea or other places to spend their dollars. They'd rather stay in town. And one of the things that we, so I would suggest, well, we got to look at these four things, and I'll get to it, promise. But I do agree that the consultants can be costly. But one thing that I feel that we probably need to address is the signage issue. Now, we have our lovely city attorney. So I'm not an attorney. I don't pretend to be one. But I believe if you look at the language, it's very content-based, all regulation. And I think that might run afoul of some rules. So I think that might require some attention to go from more content-based to more content-neutral, more kind of form and location type of restrictions. And we also have some things that we can look at. Our current code does not allow any neon or flashing sign. I get that. But I think with the current technology, again, these were adopted when the city became a city back in 1989, April 18th, 1989. Things have changed, and there are new technology, new signage options that doesn't flash and it's not neon, but it still gets the point across and it's bright enough that people can see, but it doesn't impede people's vision when they drive. So there are certain things that we can probably look at. So my concern about the signage is that a lot of our regulation, again, is more content-based, and our city attorney can probably speak more to that. And I do have a couple things that I thought might be helpful, so I'll save that. Parking. And also, we were talking about this mostly in anticipation of the downtown Diamond Bar project. We want to make sure that our codes are updated in a way that would attract the right type of business that want to come. And much similar to what we're doing with the Diamond Bar complete streetscape, we want to kind of shorten things up ahead of time so that when the plan goes live, that we can attract, again, the type of business that we want. So it's a couple of things about the parking requirement. I guess relative to other agencies and other cities, the restriction might be a little high or restrictive. Currently, if I'm reading this right, we require for restaurants 1 parking spot per 75 square feet. And for general retail, we require 1 parking spot per 250 square feet. And there are other cities that's moved away from that, and they move from, for restaurant, for example, from 1 parking spot per 100 to 120 feet. So that will obviously free up more space and allow the restaurant to kind of expand and hopefully attract more customers. And also, I believe our current stalls, the parking stall, I think we require 9 feet, if I'm reading this right. Again, 8.5 feet is not too small, and that will theoretically create more parking space. And one of the things that I've heard from different businesses that are looking to reside in Diamond Bar is the shared parking situation. I know we've talked about this before, where if you have similar businesses in an office plaza, for example, we often require them to do a parking study. And oftentimes, different businesses will have different peak hours. But I think currently they have to share the same parking spaces. And I believe the current code does not allow them to differentiate between peak business hours. I don't know, but that's kind of the way I read it. Greg, it's okay. Shaking his head. Okay. Again, I said I'm not an attorney, so I'm doing my best. But that does require kind of more comprehensive review and consultant work. So we can maybe table that for the time being. Next, I want to talk about the live entertainment. Okay. So currently, I think that the issue is that because we passed the urgency ordinance, we actually have a pretty strict definition of what live entertainment is. And I believe the way that is currently phrased, it covers any live performance, including but not limited to all forms of music, theatrical or comedic performance, song, dance, karaoke, or vocal entertainment by disc jockey or announcer, with the exception for ambient or incidental music by one non-amplified musician. So this, if I'm reading this right, this will exclude things, even things like a small, a jazz trio or someone with a guitar, or even a comedian just want to do a stand-up night. That's the way I'm reading the code. I think that will probably exclude that. So there are different things that we can look at, kind of loosen the definition a little bit. And now, if you look at the way the business can go and apply for things, most of them currently fall under the conditional use permit category. If we can create more of a tiered solution to allow some of them to use just a permit or even a minor use permit, that will kind of streamline the process a little bit. And by tier, I mean, we can, I think that, and I understand that when Scribbles and other clubs were around, they caused a lot of problems because people were drinking, they were fighting in the parking lot. I get that, but it doesn't mean we should kind of also prevent other business from offering some sort of live music or entertainment. So we can do different tiers, right? You have the kind of the low impact business. Maybe they want to have somebody come in, just sing a song or do something. That's a different category that could be under permitted use. And maybe you have someone who wants to actually have a DJ, announcer, or comedy night that can use a minor conditional use permit. And then we can still limit the use of nightclubs. I don't think any of us are advocating for nightclubs to come back, at least not in former form. But we can still hold them to a CUP standard, and that will require much more review, public hearing, and all that. If I remember, there was a company or somebody that applied for a permit in the old Chase building on the north side. They want to turn that into an event center, if I remember correctly. But I don't think that went anywhere, right?
No,
Was that still happening?
they're remodeling.
It was approved.
It's approved, so it's still happening. Okay, good luck. Yeah. So, but these are things that I had, just I thought. But I do think that there's a lot of work that we can do around the live entertainment, just kind of loosen out a little bit, so that we have, at least for business that are looking to come to Diamond Bar and potentially move into the downtown Diamond Bar area, at least they have more offering options. And then also the entitlement process, I think that we can review that internally. So in conclusion, I think the signage standard, I understand that we need consultants, but my concern is more about, again, I think that probably run afoul of some of the current standards in terms of content-based regulations. Parking, I think, unfortunately, I think we'll have to do that along with, before downtown Diamond Bar come through, because we have to get this all together so that businesses know what they're dealing with. As far as entertainment entitlement, that we can deal internally, and I do agree that I think we should probably have a subcommittee study that in a little bit more detail, and I'm happy to share more of my thoughts in the subcommittee.
Thank you for your comment. Mayor Pro.
Are you done? I'm done. Are you sure? All right, great. You know what? Draconian was a great description because that was a disaster. Greg, were you here then?
I was here when the court judgment upheld the denial of the conditional use permit, and almost immediately after that decision, that verdict was reached, the city manager directed us to prepare that ordinance that is derisively referred to as the Footloose Ordinance.
Very good. It was, I mean, you had to be there, right? You had to, this wasn't, wedding music. It wasn't, what did you call it before? Karaoke night. I don't think I heard you say that, but a nightclub. But it was, they were coming from 30, 40, 50 miles away. They had, again, the numbers I'm going to just make up. If it was set up that it could be 100 or 150 people, they had 200, 300, 400 people. They didn't belong there. They had doors that were chained shut. So I get why we did that, but I agree that it's time to look at this, and it's time to say, where would this work? Somebody else is going to come up with the idea that it might work well at Simon's old business. That might be perfect. It might not be, but they have the opportunity to do that. And I'm going to make this real short or shorter. It says provide direction regarding the initiation of a development code. I'm all for that. So let all the things that we've talked about, we can figure those out along the way. And if this is the most important thing without wasting money, if we need to deal with consultants, we ought to deal with consultants. But given what we're talking about here, live entertainment, parking standards, sign standards, entitlement procedures, and other commercial standards, I think our staff can do that. So I'm a proponent of that. Thanks very much.
Thank you. And I mean too, okay. I totally agree with everybody that we need to have some new new rules or regulation about these codes so that it will benefit both our business, small business, like a store, restaurants. Also, it will benefit our resident too. And we can work together that so that it won't create any disturbance for our peaceful life, that people will just focus this activity in the commercial area, so nothing will bother their quiet city life in our city. And we can have a committee, we can have a public hearing, we can hear opinions and input from all the residents, and we can sit down together to make a best options for the city. And regarding the studies, you know that I want to remind everybody there's one amazing thing called AI these times. Okay, I actually have done the some study to ask all the our surrounding cities code about these regulations, and I want them to give me a comparison and what is good, what is bad, and what we can do. I mean, they give me an answer pretty soon. But I'm not suggesting that we can just use AI to replace consultants. But I think we can have those functions to help us to gather information, to help us to make some kind of direction first. Then if we need to hire a consultant, and then we can save a lot of time, and we know what we are going to do first. So I think that will save time and save energy. So that so I think all of the council agreed to proceed to the next step. Do we need a formal vote? I think everybody says
No,
yes. Go
Mayor,
ahead.
I don't think so. It sounds like there's consensus to move forward, and you know, each of them, as we pointed out in the staff report, will probably have a separate and distinct path, and there'll be different touch points that will be able to bring that information forward at various stages, including the selection of consultants if needed.
So what do we just go ahead and proceed with the first, probably easy one, the live entertainment aspect?
If it's the pleasure of the council, we can certainly prioritize that one first.
Mhm. And do some internal study and to see how we're going to proceed with the parking and signage aspect of the regulations, but do the live entertainment first. Is that possible? Is that doable?
It seems like it should be, yes. Thank you.
Okay, so
Mayor, I just have one suggestion.
Go
I
ahead.
noticed when I was reading through the old draconian rules, back in those days, they didn't have wine bars, and that's not included in any of our listings, so maybe we can add that.
Why?
she's doing for the resident. Yeah.
Thinking ahead, we want Diamond Party B.
So that we're going to want our staff to proceed to the next step to do the study for the live entertainment first, and then continue to work on the signage and the parking regulations. Entitlement, yes. Thank you for the terminology. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to close this discussion now. The next session is council subcommittee reports and meeting attendance reports, council member comments. So Council Member Andrew Chow, are you able to?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, staff, and thank you for those that participated today. I always enjoy our meetings. You know, I'm just, with Thanksgiving coming up, I'm thankful that we're not like some other cities who shall remain unnamed, that where the meetings go on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours and not a lot of things get done. So I'm glad that we can come in hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes, and get things done and move things forward and continue to serve the people, because ultimately that's what we're here to do. I don't have a lot to add. I just want to wish my dad a happy 80th birthday next week. We're going to celebrate with him. I'm very grateful and fortunate that my parents are still around, and I'm forever grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Slow?
Thank you, Mayor. I did all those comments that we get a lot done in our meetings, and we actually have a good time doing it. So it's good, and we have a good team here, good team staff. So thank you so much. Great Veterans Recognition Ceremony 2 Thursdays ago. I just really was touched by the comments. So thank you to the staff and the media team who put together that video. That was really nice. And it's really just wonderful that we have folks in our community that loves our country and to do that kind of service. Thanksgiving, I think of, opened my brain to look at, try to remember what I learned in history about when the Pilgrims came and all of that. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of things come to mind, but I think it was in the early 1600s is when they came. And I kind of remember that the early Pilgrims just suffered a lot. Starvation, malnutrition, death, illness, sickness, diseases, all of that. And, we've come a long way. It's 2025. We still have, sickness and diseases, maybe not malnutrition, maybe not so much for food, but maybe malnutrition for other things, starvation for other things, company, loneliness. So at this season, I'm just really grateful for all that we have, and I would just encourage all of us to take a moment, adopt an attitude of gratitude for everything that we have, and take it as part of an opportunity to share with others that have less than we do. So I'm truly grateful for all that I have, and thank you for our country and our community. With that, I'll say good night and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Councilmember Liu.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to first wish council members Councilmember Chow's dad for a happy birthday. Very nice gentleman. Thank you, staff, for a wonderful presentation and a meeting today. And I want to thank our community for checking up on each other through the rain. We had quite a bit of rain in the past couple of days, and it's really cold as well. And we have now community members, young and old, that look out for each other. That's great and amazing. Thank you so much. And I like to wish everyone a very happy and safe Thanksgiving. And I'm especially grateful for our city staff, and our council colleagues. Thank you so much for that. Good night.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Tai.
Catch your blessings and have a very, very happy Thanksgiving. What is it, 9 days away? Good night. God bless you.
Thank you. I have an opportunity to visit West Coast Arborist last Saturday. This is our contracted arborist, and also it has contracted with many cities in Southern California. So it's nice to go there to watch their operation. I found it's very interesting. They have a very extensive, all the inventories of our city trees. They numbered it. They are on the map, and they track it. They have all the records of maintenance and basically all the health records of the trees. So that then if they have that on the map. If you click any trees, they will give you all the details of the trees, and also they have the values of the trees. So they total the value of the whole city's trees, and that's was quite a large sum of money. So that's very good. And so that this tour was organized by an organization called CEO, Chinese elected officials. And there's quite a few other cities representatives went to the event. And what is very impressive is they have a program called a recycled tree program. That after they cut a tree, they recycle the trees as much as possible. So they have a big warehouse with all the woods from the recycled trees. So actually, they give us a present. Oh, sorry. This is a plaque made by a recycled tree from our city. They have the wood's name on the back. So So there's a present for them to the city. So I'm going to present it to the city so that you can hang on the walls of the city. Very nice. And they give this present to all the city representatives there. And also they are using those wood to sell it to a famous guitar company called Taylor's Guitar Company. So Taylor's Guitar is going to use their very top wood to produce guitars. And since the very valuable woods are usually become a endangered species in the world, so very difficult for those instrument company to get a hold of the good quality woods. But they claim that from these recycled trees, they can produce a very good quality wood to replace those rare and endangered species of woods. So that's very nice. They certainly make the best use of all the woods. So that's very interesting. That I will give it to the city later. And that's my report. So with that, I hope everybody has a nice and happy Thanksgiving. Good night. The name of the woods, that's the type of wood?
Shimel ash?
Shimel ash.
I went to school with a girl by that name. Shimel Ash.
Stop. That's your girlfriend?
Take a picture of this.
Have a great, congratulations to your dad at 80. Thank you, I know.